As perhaps 100 million Americans prepare to watch tonight's first debate, there's something I'd like you to consider. In the first volume in this series of comments, I listed 176 reasons Donald Trump cannot and must not be elected President of the United States. That list was actually only half its original length, and it still took nearly 17 minutes to read aloud. And since then, to my amazement, I have discovered at least 2 other lists that included dozens of other events that had flown by in such volume and so quickly that I had never even noticed them. To paraphrase William Hurt in the movie Body Heat, sometimes the Trump comes down so heavy I feel like I should wear a hat. And it appears it's now coming down heavier still. What follows is 74 more reasons Donald Trump cannot and must not be elected President of the United States. There are a few items from those other lists that I mentioned, but virtually everything you will hear now has happened since just the 9th of September. The Republican Party has actually nominated for president a man who attacked Hillary Clinton for contracting pneumonia, who attacked her and implied she was concealing still other illnesses, who attacked her again with a false claim that she wants to eliminate the Second Amendment and then suggested her bodyguards be disarmed and, quote, let's see what happens to her, who attacked her a third time on Twitter just in case anybody missed that dog whistle for somebody to try to shoot her, who attacked her during a supposedly nonpartisan speech to the poisoned water victims of Flint, Michigan, who attacked the pastor in Flint, Michigan, who interrupted him and asked him to stop attacking Clinton, who attacked the residents of Flint, Michigan for their crime rate, who attacked the United States as a, quote, third world country, who attacked America's inner cities as more dangerous than parts of Afghanistan, who attacked a former CIA director as dopey after the man wrote an article critical of him, who attacked Maureen Dowd of the New York Times after she was critical of him in an interview and called her a dope, wacky, neurotic, crazy, who attacked the New York Times as a, quote, laughingstock, failing, nuts, a rag, and claimed he talked his lawyers out of suing them for irresponsible intent when there is no such law, legal term, or provision applicable to a newspaper, who attacked CNN and the network's president personally after suggesting its documentary about him was inaccurate, even though he had repeatedly said he no longer ever watched CNN, who attacked a Fox News commentator confined to a wheelchair as, quote, a guy that can't buy a pair of pants, who attacked Asian businessmen in a stereotyped accent, claiming they only say, quote, we want deal, who attacked Jewish businessmen, claiming, I'm a negotiator like you folks were negotiators, and you're not going to support me because I don't want your money. The Republican Party has actually nominated for president a man who lied about Hillary Clinton planning to literally abolish American borders, who lied about whether or not Hillary Clinton had begun birtherism, who lied about resolving birtherism, who lied about the nature of the hotel promotional event at which he lied about birtherism, who seems to have lied about why he finally formally backed away from birtherism, telling an Ohio TV station, I wanted to get on with the campaign, who lied about the term alt-right having recently been, quote, made up, who lied about the term alt-right having been coined by Hillary Clinton, who lied that his answer to Howard Stern on September 11, 2002, about whether this country should go to war in Iraq was, I don't know, when in fact it was, yeah, I guess so, and the answer is on tape, who lied that an interview with Sean Hannity in 2003 proved he was opposed to the Iraq war in 2002, when in fact he was recorded saying Iraq, quote, looks like a tremendous success, who lied that a 2004 magazine article proves he was opposed to the Iraq War in 2002, who lied about how the terrorist attack at the Bataclan Club in Paris could have been averted if attendees had been armed, who lied about how the African-American youth unemployment rate is 58% when it's actually 20%, who lied to an audience that Hillary Clinton is raising their taxes substantially when her only proposed tax increase applies only to the top 1% of all earners, who lied about Hillary Clinton destroying 13 phones with a hammer, who lied about polls he claimed showing there was more enthusiasm for him than for any previous presidential candidate. The Republican Party has actually nominated for president a man who claimed, before investigators on the scene of the explosion could or did reach any conclusions, that, quote, a bomb, unquote, had gone off in New York City, who claimed our, quote, extremely open immigration system was responsible for the bombing, even though the suspect arrested was an American citizen with no known connection to international terrorism, who claimed that he could stand in New York City and shoot people and not lose any supporters, who claimed that Fed money policy was being manipulated to politically benefit the President of the United States, who claimed that Hillary Clinton is running a hate-filled campaign during an event in which one of his supporters was filmed grabbing a protester by the neck and punching him, after which a 69-year-old woman protester was photographed on the ground, allegedly after being punched by a man, who claimed he knew Russia well because he'd staged beauty pageants there, who claimed that Vladimir Putin called him a genius when the Russian word Putin used translates as colorful or lively or flamboyant, who claimed after years of implying he had met him and knew him well that, quote, honestly, I don't know Vladimir Putin, who claimed in an interview he did with Larry King that ran on a network owned by the Kremlin that he doubted that Russia, which the U.S. government has claimed hacked the Democratic National Committee, was attempting to disrupt the election, who claimed that the debates will be rigged and thus should have no moderator, who claimed that he will replace Obamacare with, quote, many different plans, plans you don't even know about, health care plans that will be so good, who claimed that his time at a military prep high school gave him better military training than a lot of people in the military, who claimed that American wages are too high, who seemed unable to differentiate between Hamas and Hezbollah, who seemed unable to differentiate between the Quds and the Kurds, who claimed Belgium is a city, who claimed parts of London and Paris are so filled with terrorists, police are afraid to go into them, who claimed that he keeps himself in good physical shape by exercise consisting of making many hand gestures while he gives speeches. The Republican Party has actually nominated for president a man who has allied himself with his son, who made a Holocaust gas chamber joke about the campaign, who has allied himself with his son, who made a bizarre meme comparing Syrian refugees to poisoned candies and used a photo taken by a refugee, who has allied himself with Ben Carson, who responded to Hillary Clinton's pneumonia by suggesting she get a specialized MRI, who has allied himself with the co-chair of his Veterans for Trump, who insists Secretary Clinton has Parkinson's disease, who has allied himself with his latest campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, who insists Clinton has lied about her pneumonia, who has allied himself with Conway even though when it was reported that George H.W. Bush is voting for Clinton, she said, I respect the 92-year-old former president very much, as if his age was the determining factor in his voting choice, who has allied himself with Conway even though she denied there should be extensive medical reporting on Trump. 16 days after Trump proposed, both camps released full medical records, who has allied himself with his running mate Mike Pence, who refused to call white supremacist David Duke deplorable, who has allied himself with his own spokeswoman Katrina Pearson, who publicly assessed presidential candidates' purity of breeding. The Republican Party has actually nominated for president a man who was revealed to have told Maureen Dowd that there was nothing wrong with violence at his rallies, that it added excitement, whose campaign was then revealed to have the same day, while Dowd's former assistant, now a journalist, waited to find out if he would get credentials to cover a Trump speech, allowed the Houston police to arrest the man for trespassing, who was revealed to have announced the New York pressure cooker attack within minutes of the explosion, but who waited 12 hours to express concern about the victims, who was revealed to have waited 24 hours to express concern about the victims in the Minnesota stabbings, who was revealed to have waited 36 hours to express concern about the New Jersey explosion, who was revealed to have then congratulated himself on, quote, calling the New York bombing, who was revealed to have questioned why the suspect in the New York bombing, an unconvicted American citizen, was to receive medical care, a lawyer, and food, who was revealed to have received 9/11 funds intended for small businesses, who was revealed to have told as many as 5 separate lies about what he personally did on 9/11, who was revealed to have responded to 9/11 on 9/11 by claiming a building he owned was now the tallest in downtown Manhattan. And it wasn't even that, who was revealed to have spent $30,000 in Trump Foundation charitable funds on portraits of himself, who was revealed to have spent $5,000 in Trump Foundation charitable funds on advertising for his hotels, who was revealed to have spent $258,000 in Trump Foundation charitable funds to settle lawsuits against his for-profit businesses, who was revealed to have told an interviewer that people living in poverty are, quote, morons, who was revealed to have mused about deporting Hillary Clinton, who inexplicably retweeted an article titled, "Trump's birther event is the greatest trick he's ever pulled." And if that last one doesn't sum up this campaign, what could? I'm Keith Olbermann. That's the closer. Watch this space.